Okay, here I'm working on, I did a video earlier, put on YouTube, just the start of this project, but I'm going to make a more complete video here. It's a Marvel carburetor off WD45 I have, and I run into some problems with it, and I still got one problem left, but this is a TSX773, and well, I'll show you what I needed for tools, because every jet was stuck on this thing. I had to drill them out. That one, I think that's the, I don't know if that's the power jet. I'm not sure, because it seems like this would be the, whatever that little jet is, I can't remember. Most of the ones I worked on are different than that. This, well, I'll show you one problem I had. After I got this carburetor all done, I went to screw in the fitting that fuel line hooks up to, and I noticed right away there's a crack. I didn't see that before. I didn't crack it, but it was cracked. This is a tractor I haven't had very long, a month and a half. So I brazed it, and it's wrapped in this towel, and it's been wrapped in there for over an hour. It's still too hot to touch. I've got it wrapped in several layers. But anyway, I'll show you the bottom half at least. So when I was, like this nozzle, that was froze. The idle jet on the upper part was froze. Even the bolts that go through from the top here were very, very hard to get loose. I did get them loose, but I had to kind of tap them with a hammer to kind of shake them loose. One was particularly hard. So I ordered a complete kit from these guys, DJS, and so that comes with both your throttle plate and your choke plate or butterflies, and that's the throttle shaft. It comes with the choke shaft too, and the seals. There's your throttle shaft seal and retainer. I don't know what this O-ring is for. I cannot figure that out, where that goes. The parts deal I have, this is the small body and medium body picture, which are a lot easier in my book than this. This is the large body, type C. The other two are type A and B. This is type C, which uses this style of nozzle instead of that style. So this style, notice on this style, it's got a hex up here. This is where I had problems. This was stuck. This one doesn't have a hex up there. Instead, I'd have to take it apart, but you can see on here, if you take this power valve out, under there is the other end of this nozzle, and that is a screwdriver end, right in there. It's a slot. And if that's stuck, and this one was stuck, even though it looked perfectly good, by the time I got done fighting it, and I heated, scared I was going to crack this thing, but I heated it and still wouldn't come out. So I ended up drilling it out. And well, here's the first thing you need. This come with new nozzle, this kit, that power jet, this plug. I already had a plug and I put that in. This before I even figured I would have to have a complete kit. And I had a plug I've soldered up. It's like a little breather plug, and I've soldered them up. I don't know even where I got a handful of them somewhere. But here's the one that comes with the kit. You get this drain, and I think that's for like distillate tractors originally, and it would go in the bottom where that plug is to drain the distillate out at the end of the night, at the end of the day, so you can start it on gasoline in the morning, then switch it over to distillate again. I think that's what that's for. It also would work to drain water out if you had water in your carb, I guess. But anyway, this kit, I'll get back to the jets here in a minute, but this kit comes with the gasket, and they come with a couple different size manifold to carburetor gasket. It does not come with the float. I ordered that separate. Doesn't come with the Venturi. This is the old one. But it was a very complete kit. I've already had this together, and I had to take this. This is all the top half of the carburetor stuff laying out here that I had to take back apart so I could braze the one I just showed you under that towel. But anyway, so if you're going to try to do something like this and drilling out jets, I mean, that's a precarious thing because you got to be centered. And then these drills and taps, they're special ones. Like this one is for the little screws that hold your throttle plate. This is the old butterflies. Those screws that hold them, you know, these little tiny things. A 4-40 is what this particular carburetor used. Some of them use a different size. And a drill bit. The drill bit's number 43 bit. That doesn't come in your standard drill bit box when you buy. Same thing with the tap, you know. And then like these taps. This is an 832 and a 1032. And I think I used them both. You know, it's been a few days. It's been a rat race. But anyway, with the correct bits, this is a number 21 bit. This is a, 29 bit. Also, so I've have those. Also, you need even this was stuck in the carburetor. I had to use the vice grips to get the old one out. And then I start putting this new one in, and you can see already I've kind of, just trying to put it in, it just come to a stop, and I kind of put some marks there, but it's all right. But I couldn't get it in this upper half, and so I needed to clean the threads out. Well, that is a 3/8 inch fine thread, but it's not your normal fine thread. It's a 3/8 27 count thread per inch. Your normal 3/8 fine thread is a 24 per inch thread count. So I didn't have it. The store didn't have. They had these, but they didn't have that one. So what I did was I have a 1/8 inch pipe thread tap, and that's the same thread count. So I just ground off. You know, I measured how wide this was at the threads, and then I just ground the threads off on the back side because this is tapered. Ground it off to the point where it'll fit in the hole that this come out of. So if you needed to do that, you can just get an 1/8 inch pipe because you're gonna find them in the hardware store. You know, I think I got two of them, I think. So anyway, you'll need that, and you'll need this nozzle is a normal. You know, I don't know why they did this. This is a 3/8 24 thread, your normal 3/8 fine thread tap. And I don't know why they had to make that one 3/8 by 27 thread, but that's what they did. So I drilled out that little guy down there, and you know, keep track, like do the bottom half over here, put your top half stuff over here, and my bottom half is all done and ready to go. I've already had this together, putting it on the tractor, and I was putting this in, and that's when I noticed the cracked carburetor. But anyway, so keep your halves separate. These I won't use. It also came with this plug that goes where your throttle shaft goes on the opposite side. It's a blind hole. And the only time you would ever think about taking that plug out, because I left it in, is if the throttle shaft is real sloppy and you want to drill it out and put a bushing in to take up the slop. And this one isn't sloppy. Then you would pull that out so you can push a bushing in. So this will just go in my drawer and probably never look at it again. I save all the old parts. These are parts I have. This is the kit I got from DJS. It fits those models, 464, 561, 773. And then I keep the parts I don't use, and then I keep any other carburetor parts from any of these models, I'm putting them in this box. I always keep the packages, and I like this better than the bubble pack, so I transferred everything to that box. You'll also need a variety of screwdrivers, and for the seat, I used to have a screwdriver that would fit. Well, I do have one, but it doesn't fit this one. The slot's so narrow. So I use this. I made this 30 some years ago working at the Allis dealer. For scraping gaskets, you can hammer on it, and taking gaskets off torque tubes on like 190s and 180s and stuff, because they got that steel back gasket and they stick really bad. This is kind of handy to have something like that for measuring. This works really good for measuring your float, but basically your float's got to just set level. Yeah, so, and this is what I used. You can use this, you know, this end of it to measure that nozzle. I'll explain the nozzle thing here. But you can use that part to measure that, how far that nozzle. And the reason I had to do that, I used this thing, this much finer. But so when I was drilling this nozzle out, and come in from this way, you know, straight in, I wasn't paying attention. It was a boneheaded move. I've never, you know, I used to work on these, you know, quite a bit in the 4 years I worked at an Allis dealer in the 90s. And I never did this, but so when I was drilling this out, the chuck of the drill hit this and threw it to one side and just kind of wallowed out that hole. Well, I don't have it out to show you, but this picture, there's a flange right there. And that is very close to the top of this hole. There's a shoulder for it to seal up with a gasket. So now I put in the new, I was hoping, well, maybe it'll still seal up. I put in this new, after I run and clean the threads, I had to drill that out, put the tap in and all that. I could see light around the gasket after I put this up here. So on this side. So I drilled it out, thought, well, it's either junk, the whole carburetor, or I'm going to fix it. Either I got to get another one, or I'm going to try to fix this one. So I drilled it out, and I put a copper, this is 5/16 copper soft tube, and I cut a piece about that, maybe that thick with my pipe cutter. Maybe that thick, and pushed it in there, and I run the nozzle up. First I measured this, how far from that casting down there to the top, or you could probably measure off of here with a flat edge and then measure, because I didn't know when I go to drill this out to put a bushing in if there'd be any shoulder left to catch, you know, catch this nozzle to get the right height. So that's why I measured that, drilled that out. And then I got lucky because, and I did all that without a gasket because I thought it would be a little more accurate to get the measurements. But I got lucky, there was enough shoulder left that this stopped in where it should be stopped. So then I pushed in this bushing, run that back up again, and it pushed the bushing out. It's actually a little lip there. And I didn't want that bushing coming loose, and I'm glad that there's still a lip on the inside to hold the bushing in place. But I didn't want that coming loose. Ethanol, if it ever has ethanol, I use the non-ethanol gas whenever I can. But ethanol will eat that Loctite out, because I thought about that. I thought many different things. I thought, well, maybe I can thread a plug in and drill that out. Well, that's complicated. So what I did is I put that bushing in, and then I drilled with this size, this 440 bit, and the tap, and I used a screw. I save all the screws from putting butterflies in the carburetors, and I had one there, and I drilled the hole, tapped it, make sure you don't hit any passages in the carburetor, and use that screw to hold that bushing in. And that works. Now, bushing isn't flat. I could have come with a maybe a die grinder or a Dremel with a flat pad and flatten it down. But I don't have a pad right now to put on my I don't have a Dremel, but I got a die grinder. So I thought, well, it's my tractor. I'm just gonna throw the screw in. It's gonna hold it where it needs to be. After I got this threaded up there, I screwed that down. That bushing is not gonna go anywhere. It's in the right spot. So that was that dilemma fixed. Self-inflicted wound there. So the next dilemma was this top under that towel. Oh, I should go, before I get to that, besides having a variety of screwdrivers, and you might even want to grind the end off of one to make it fatter to fit a jet better, because if they're a little loose, you're more apt to wreck the slot in the jet. This jet, like that whole top was busted off when I got it, so there was no removing that, and I probably wouldn't have removed it, but since I got this kit, I thought I'm putting new jets in, and you know, normally I'd just take all these things out and clean them. When you do clean them, some people say use a torch tip cleaning kit. Well, I don't think that's a good idea. These are metal, steel, and you run them through a brass fitting, you are likely to make the hole bigger in that jet. And I was always told never do that. So I use, if I do clean jets, I use automotive strands of wire. You can get different, cut off a chunk of wire, and there's different sizes. And usually that one will fit about any jet on this carburetor. That's copper, and that won't be a problem. So that works. Oh, this kit also comes. So when you put this screw has got a shoulder to it, and that goes in here, and it holds this spring, and then that copper washer acts as a friction disc. So you put all that, the spring and then the washer, and you screw it in here and make sure that this bolt bottoms out, the shoulder bottoms against the carburetor, and then the spring will push against this washer, and that's your friction to give you a little friction to run the choke, and it'll kind of stay in one spot. So that's another item. Also, the float in this thing was totally junk. This carburetor was, in bad shape, but the float was totally junk. It was leaking at the seam, and plus a pinhole. Well, when they leak at the seam, good luck for me anyway to try to fix that. I can fix a pinhole if it's down here. The seam, it seems like you try to patch here and it just undoes all the way over. I was working on that one, and I knew it was futile, but it even in my futileness, it even undid the pontoon come off the lever, which I soldered back on. That was no problem, but never gonna seal that all up. So I bought a new one. I have another one that I have fixed, and it was a pinhole here, and you put solder in there, and then you kind of file off any excess so that you don't change the weight too much on your float. So I got a new float from DJS also. I got 2 new floats from them because I'm got a Zenith carburetor I'm working on for a B or a C. So usually I reuse these things. These were really dirty. I got a ultrasonic cleaner, and I threw stuff in there, and it's still got rust on it. But since the kit came with new ones, I'll save these, but like this one's just like new anyway, but I'll save these. I'll save this power valve. I'll save, all kinds of shafts, and these are from other kits, some of it even. I'm going to see if this is, I think I can just go ahead and unwrap it. It's been well over an hour, maybe close to 2 hours. If I can get it unwrapped one-handed here. Yeah, I can touch it now. I couldn't touch it 15 minutes ago yet. So I had to strip everything off here. And I brazed this. I'll have to run a tap in there ways, make sure there isn't brazing in the way. But I think this will work. I'm going to want to paint this now. I should have painted it before anyway, but I don't like that ugliness there showing up if I can help it. But yeah, the Venturi, I had to drill out. There's a idle jet there. Some of these got a economizer jet that screws in there, and this one's got a fixed. There's no economizer on this particular carburetor. Yeah, so after that, and then make sure your surfaces are flat. And like now, after I've heated this, I'm going to double check, make sure this is flat. That one is flat. I've checked it, run a file across it, and it was flat. And this one was flat. The Zenith I was working on, I don't know if it's been dropped 100 times or what, but it had dings all over. And I filed that, got rid of all the high spots. So, feels like I was going to say some more here. I don't know what. Yeah, the instructions, that's the C body with that nozzle. There's the A and B body. It also shows the same nozzle, but different parts. None of those pictures right here look like the one I'm working on. You know, I guess the closest one would be the C. I guess that's sort of pretty close. Doesn't show the drain. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Comes with new screws. These guys I ordered, besides this kit and the floats, I also ordered, and I don't know what I did with the package now. I ordered, set it somewhere. Package is empty. I ordered a temperature gauge for that thing, H3 crawler, and it came in kind of a nice old style Allis packaging, which I kind of liked. It was the old diamond logo. I don't know what I did with it. I was going to save that. Hopefully I didn't throw it away. So I'm going to put the old floats in there. Well, I had it in my hand not too long ago. Doesn't matter. So this is where I'm at right now. I'll be working on this. Set your float, I think I said that. Level is the main thing, but it's a 1/4 inch. After you get your gasket on, you set your float level a 1/4 inch all the way across the bottom of the float to the gasket surface on this. So it'd be like 1/4 inch between this part of the float and that gasket that would sit there. 1/4 inch gap. But they all say, I always set it at 1/4, but you know, on the Allis page, Dr. Allis, who I admire, and a bunch of other guys on there I admire too, they say just make sure it's level. I think that's about, you can have, after you pull jets out and you want to brush things, have brushes, pipe cleaner, and stuff like that, clean things out, especially after you tap it. And then I use an air hose, of course, and blow it out really well. I'm going to end up painting this one before it goes on. I was debating whether I should pull that shaft. I think I'll just paint over the choke. I might pull this brass off. When I get it together, I'll paint it all. I can just throw tape on that. Ain't gonna make much difference. Just so it ain't gonna look rusty. The rest of the tractor's rusty, so whatever. Now, I know there was something more I was gonna say, but I was gonna show this tool. that was what I was going to show you. This tool is a KD tool. Part number, I've had it for 30 plus years, 2282. I don't know if you can still get it. It's got a magnet on this side. It works really good for putting these little screws in, anywhere, but like the throttle butterfly and choke butterfly. The screws are very small. I will, let me put the phone down for a second. Okay, it's got like a screwdriver blade right there. I got it turned. I don't know why it's not, this thing doesn't want to focus sometimes. Screwdriver blade right at the end. When I turn it this way, it's solid looking. Now it's going to be black, so it's going to be hard to see. But the center, it's actually twisted. I don't know if you can make that out. The center is not, there's a notch in the center, and the center of that blade has got a twist to it. It's separate from the other, one side and the other. From this side and that side, there's a center. Well, you can see a little gap there. It's got a twist to it. Let me put this down. So now I twisted this. This is spring loaded, and there's a peg right there, and there's a slotted hole. I'll undo it here, and you twist this, and then this peg drops into this slot. So this one L-shaped slot. So now you look, the screwdriver, there's a gap there. It's that part that had a twist to it that was not in line with the other ones, that's spring loaded, and it's got a gap now that I did this. So hang on. I wish you could watch me put this, maybe you can. Hopefully that'll hold. So this screw I can put right over that slot. You line the slot of the screw up with this like it's a screwdriver, and then once you get it on there, you push it, and that just sprung, and now that centerpiece popped up, and it's under pressure with a twist, and it holds the screw in place. So then you can use a little finesse. I don't have it centered, but normally I would. Use a little finesse and screw it into wherever you got to put a little screw like this. And then when it comes to you can either pull it off, or when it gets to the bottom, when the screw stops, it'll unlock this, and it'll come apart. So comes apart if you keep threading it in. So there's the notch, open notch again. So it's ready for another one. I always undo it because having pressure on springs all the time is not very good. So I just push, and watch this. Watch down here. That's going to spring. There. Sprung. It's holding that screw. It works really nice. So anytime you're dealing with small screws like that, a tool like that really, really helps. So that was the last thing, I guess. It's worth having one of these if you can find one. I'm sure they're readily available. I've had that for 30 some years, and I don't use it as much because I don't do this kind of work a whole lot. I just do my own mainly, or occasionally for someone else. But my 4 years at the Allis dealer, I did quite a bit. Long time ago. So I think now I am done. Oh, when you do drill out these jets, make sure you don't go too far. Kind of know what you're getting into. Like this one's pretty simple. With the right drill bit, you're not going to. It just comes out the bottom of when that power valve is removed, just comes out the bottom. This one, right there happens to be same thing. There's, you know, you don't want to go start drilling down into your hole down here in the deal, but you know, use common sense with these things. There are also, you know, you can see the bigger passages. There's also smaller passages in the sides that you have to run a tag wire, and I run a tag wire. They're that copper wire usually. I have used tag wires. They're steel, but they're kind of soft, and I don't worry about it too much. But I use copper. There's holes. There's a couple holes here. One goes to this jet, I believe, and then another one. It's more straight in, and I used to know you can see my file marks from trying to flatten things. I used to know where every hole went, and I don't remember anymore because it's a long time ago since I went to school for it. But anyway, I guess that's my final thing to say. That's all.